Hi, it's Adam from Krav Maga Northern Beaches here, and I'm here with Monique Dahl. She's a client of ours, and her children are in the Warriors program. She's also a developmental psychologist. She's been coaching parents and children for over 20 years, and she's the author of this book here, No Limit Parenting, Do What You Love and Inspire Your Children. Hey Monique, how are you?
Hey Adam, thank you for introducing me, and it's a pleasure and honor to share some important tips with your viewers these upcoming 6 videos, because we will be sharing tips about parenting and coaching and personal development, and those are things that most of our children don't learn at school, while they're very important for them to create happy and fulfilling lives, and that's what we all want for our children.
Well, I'm really looking forward to the videos.
Me too.
Thank you. Hi, it's Adam from Krav Maga Northern Beaches here, and I'm again here with Monique. And this week we're going to be looking at one of my favorite topics is courage. I get, a lot of parents come in to the club, or parents contact us and they want to, have their child be more courageous. That's what they're saying. In other words, they want them to stand up for themselves. They want them to be more assertive. They want to make sure that they don't get bullied or harassed. In other words, often what they're saying is, I want my child to be a little bit more courageous with taking actions or speaking up. So this is a topic that we're going to be chatting about today. Hey Monique, how are you?
Hi, I'm fine.
Good.
It's good to hear that's your favorite topic. It's mine as well.
Excellent, excellent. So just tell us a little bit about courage and children and things that you've noticed and seen from a coaching point of view when you coach parents or even coaching children.
Yeah, well, I think courage is a really important skill to develop, and I see a lot of people living their lives from a place of fear, and actually that's the opposite of courage. So oftentimes in our lives it's fear that's running the show. It can be fear for rejection, fear for financial insecurity, fear for being laughed at, fear of making wrong decisions. We talked about it earlier. So the biggest fear I see, or what it comes down to, is the fear to be your true, authentic self and to show that, share that with the world.
I guess that also relates to when we're talking about the being judged by others. Like someone doesn't have the confidence to say, this is what I want to do. Yeah. I'm worried that someone else is going to, look at me, and especially in Australia, I know you have a Dutch background. Yeah. In Australia, we call it tall poppy syndrome, unfortunately. And unfortunately, in our culture, what we found is it's very common that, if someone's doing well or someone has achieved something, and it's like, oh yeah, good on you, mate, look at you boasting. Opposed to, I know in other cultures, especially in Europe, it's the opposite. Yeah. If someone does well, everyone really celebrates, oh, that's a great car, opposed to who do you think you are? And it's a funny thing that I've noticed a lot. I've got an Italian background in this culture where we don't really celebrate enough, and it is sort of that people are worried about other people and not having the courage then to do what they want.
Yeah, that's so true, and it's I think it's quite of a universal thing that we feel most comfortable when we fit in, but all the people that we admire and that we look up to, those were the people who dare to stand out. So that's a funny thing. So we admire most of the time people who do dare to stand out, but we to do that ourselves, because most of the people like to be in their comfort zone. And I recently read this article. It was from Richard Branson, and he said, well, the world would be better or look better, it would be a better world when everybody had the courage to do what they love. And of course, with the subtitle of my book, I was triggered by that. But it's that same thing that we encourage people to find the courage to really follow your heart and to live your life the way you truly desire to.
So with the psychology background, I think it's like a courage, like people are sort of restricted from a social norm, like they want a place to belong. They don't want to sort of be, the one that's looking different or, doing things differently. So sometimes it's easier to belong or easier to do, normal things or easier things, opposed to, if you like something different, having that confidence and courage to say, hey, I'm going to give this a go and not worry about what other people think.
Yeah, and I think that's becoming more and more important as the world is changing. I think maybe in the past centuries, for some people, it was really literally dangerous to differ from the norm. Eh? So, but the world is changing so quickly, and I think if you look at the future, you think of the future, our children will probably end up in jobs that at this moment aren't even there. Yeah, we don't even know about it yet. So the most important thing that we need to teach our children is how to adjust to change, and how as this change goes so fast, it's inevitable for us to take risks and to try new things, to think out of the box, to become more creative, and the society will become more and more diverse. So to have this courage to really show up as who you are, I think it's becoming more and more relevant.
So as a parent, you're saying the best thing to do is, get your child to try different things, try new things, embrace change. Because, I mean, in today's world, things are changing so fast. Technology, and as you said, in 30 years' time, there'll be jobs that don't even exist today. Because the thing that I find a lot is, children, will develop a little bit of anxiety sometimes, especially when they come to our club to try, the art, and often the first few classes, like anything, is hard, and they need that courage. But I get other children that are the opposite. They're like, yeah, I'll try that, I'll do this. Oh yeah, we'll give that a go. Why not? And it's like they're really just in the habit of trying new things and being diverse.
Yeah, and that's very much the difference that you describe is very much determined by the family that they come from. So again, we as parents are very important as to what climate we create at home for experimenting, for failure, for being yourself, to have discussions, to challenge the norm and question how we used to do things, and if there maybe are better ways to do things. So to create this open mind and have the courage to speak it out. Yeah.
Because I know with my children, I always want to develop a sense of risk taking. And I know, I used to be a school teacher in the past, and we used to teach this in physical education, and it was taught from the angle of, I understand and accept that, you have to be responsible and know what's a risk that's good and not good. I totally get that. However, as a parent now, I'm sort of taking the view that I want my child to take as much risk that is safe as she can, and I want to really facilitate that. One thing that we do is, on the beach, we go near the rocks and we go climbing and do adventurous things and things that are scary. And I'll sort of just push her to that razor edge where she's, on the edge and she does something that's amazing, and I want to really give her that courage that she can take a risk constantly. How does that help a child?
Yeah, it will give them more confidence, and it's a really wonderful example because especially moms, we are often be careful, don't fall off that rock. And it's more of times the fathers who can give that encouragement to seek for the for the edge. And that's a difference between how boys learn as well as girls. So it's really a very good example because I have 3 boys and I tend to want to keep them safe.
Yeah,
and it's my husband who said, just go a little bit higher, but look where you put your foot or your feet. So with good guidance and instructions, and of course that will help them build up their confidence in their own body and their own abilities. So that's a really important thing to do. But in this society, most teachers in school are still women, and also caretakers in childcare, all women. And that's why boys have more problems in those institutions because boys naturally want to take more risks and they want to just try things out. They just want to experiment, where girls are more inclined to just follow the rules and get this positive approval and acknowledgement. But it's a very important thing that we also encourage our girls to take some more risks.
For sure. Yeah. I mean, there should be no difference. For little children, a boy and a girl, they should both be out there climbing the rock, doing their different things. And I know they have different values.
Yeah.
Everyone's different and unique and embrace that time, but they should have that same exposure. Yeah. And then what do you do as a parent, if we fall off the rock and, or we hurt ourselves, or you have a child that is too scared to sort of take that step. Because I get a lot of clients that, that they have that anxiety, which again, it comes back to the parent sort of embracing the change a little bit. But then, if you do make a mistake, because I often, I have children that, get really disappointed when something doesn't go right, which is understandable. But how do we sort of embrace that?
Actually talk with them and show them that failure is part of life. And as I said before, actually there is no failure, only learning. So the question is always, how can we prevent this next time, or how can we become better the next time? So just this encouragement, but also to make failure a very normal part of life, will help them to have more courage to take those risks.
Yeah. So it's like, failing is just like succeeding.
Yeah. And also be vulnerable and share your own failures with your child as well. Because that will also, a lot of parenting is about giving your child permission. And you give yourself permission to make mistakes if you are open about your own mistakes as well. And just share that. You see, I tried this and it didn't work out. What can I learn from it? And then they see, it's really a normal part of life. It's not something to stay away from.
Yeah, so we're not developing a fear. If I make a mistake, I'm scared.
Yeah, or I get punished.
I put my hand up, I get punished. Or I make a mistake, I'm scared, I don't want to do it again. Opposed to, hey, I learned.
Exactly.
It's a natural part, and not developing a fear around it.
And again, praise the effort.
Yeah.
So, wow, you was afraid, but you still did it.
Yeah.
It didn't work out this time, but you tried it, and that's the compliment in itself.
And then, like with some children, like if you have a child that's a little bit anxious, is it just a matter of just taking like baby steps as they sort of develop that courage? Because I know, some children, for instance, and it might be the same with your boys. One boy or girl will be like really adventurous, and then you sort of got the opposite on the other hand, and then the other child takes a little bit more encouragement, or they will not do the same things or have the same courage as the other child, just as their personality.
Yeah, well, two things that you can do. Actually, a normal path of doing a new thing by yourself for children is to first model it. So first do it yourself, then do it together, and then let the child do it by himself. So that is like a gradual process on how to learn a new skill or try to do something that...
So sorry, they see the parent do it themselves first, then you support them, they do it together, and then eventually they're independent and they have that confidence and courage.
So take the time for them to get there where you want them to be. And the other thing is, to not challenge them to do things that are too far ahead. So, because
sometimes you get the dads, sometimes they see that will have the opposite effect. And you don't want to sort of, go take a step back where you're like, come on, you've got to be doing this, and you push them too far.
Exactly.
And then it actually has an impact
on their
confidence.
If a child has several experiences that he was pushed too far, and he really couldn't do it, or it really felt too scary, then he won't be, it won't be likely that he will do that again. So it's easy to take really small steps and to really look at your child and observe where he's at, and just stretch him a little bit, and then next time stretch him a little bit. So not the big leaps, because that can be, they shut down.
Yes, for sure. They shut down. It's too much for them. So it's just, knowing your child and then just taking those steps and being consistent in the family environment. Okay, so Monique, can you share with us now a few tips for parents? Like if you have a child that's a little bit, anxious or needs a little bit more courage, what are some great things that parents can do to sort of fulfill that courage within a child?
Well, as always, it starts with yourself. So the first tip is be a good example. Be courageous yourself. Try to follow your heart. Take some risks here and there, and talk about that with your child. So show them what courage looks like, and live it.
Yeah, it's so true, because I know sometimes one thing that I'm big on with Krav Maga and martial arts is I emphasize to the children that, courage doesn't mean that you're not scared. Like we talk about a warrior in our program, and I say that, it's okay to be scared. people that are courageous are still scared. And then, as you said, I think in another video and just previously, it's really powerful. I think sometimes I'll share with my son and my daughter that actually I'm a little bit scared doing this too. And then I guess it gives them the sense of acceptance, or the sense of that it's okay. My feeling of being scared is validated because Dad's scared and he's doing it.
Yeah.
And this is perfectly normal.
Yeah.
And then encourage them that you did it and that was amazing.
Beautiful. Yeah, I also love the quote, feel the fear and do it anyway.
Yeah, sure.
So the fear is okay, but don't let it stop you.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, and then what are some other tips for parents?
Well, actually, the other thing I wanted to add was to stimulate creativity. Give your children some space to do things in their own way, to discover their own recipes if they want to make muffins or whatever it is. To give them some space to experiment. Because as moms, we sometimes tend to overprotect our children, and we give them not so much space to just explore things. And I think that is also an important part of developing courage, to just go somewhere, just try and see what happens, without knowing the outcome yet. So sometimes we as parents, we can see all this danger or risks, but children actually from nature are more willing to take those risks, but we give them sometimes not enough space to experiment.
So I mean, if we're giving them that chance to explore, be creative, try new things, solve a problem, it's like, you're giving them that independence, which really develops the courage that they need, opposed to, I'll fix it, I'll do it for you, because it's faster, it's easier, it's safer. Yeah. And then the last tip that you have?
The last tip was about, actually I also mentioned that earlier, is about cherish, embrace their uniqueness. And that's a point I come back to, because sometimes we project our own fear of being judged about the behavior of our child.
Yeah.
So the child might behave in some way, and we say, oh, what might the other people think? And we are going to say, don't do that. And then we damp actually the creativity or the personality of the child itself, and that will install fear, because then the child is just being him or herself, and he gets this like negative energy from you, like, oh, am I being judged? And that will instill this fear of not being your true authentic self.
Okay, so really approaching things in a different way.
Yeah.
Opposed to, projecting your fears, which I do all the time, especially when you're out and about and you have a tantrum or,
Exactly, yeah. I have 4 children. When they were small and we went to a restaurant, I felt all the eyes on my 4 children who were jumping around. But I realized one day, actually, this is how I love them to be. Those are my children, and I have more responsibility for them to all those people than to all those people who have an opinion about it.
Because it's like I agree, like, you need boundaries for sure, and we're not saying that you don't need that, but at the same time, sometimes what I sort of gather is we're over-protective or we're over-concerned about the opinions, which actually has a negative effect on our child's courage.
Exactly.
Yeah, great. Okay, thanks for today. And as we know, Monique has a great book here, No Limit Parenting. Do what you love and inspire your children. So if you want a copy, you can jump on the website, and she's got an amazing online coaching program as well.
Yeah.
Thanks for your time.
You're welcome.
See you guys. Bye.
Bye.